Hey everyone, it's Lisa with part 2 of my easel card that I'm going to make. In the last video, in case you haven't seen it, I shared with you this beautiful botanical, it's botanic orchid bundle, a bundle that was in my stash from Heartfelt Creation. I showed you some of the stamps. Well, I talked about the stamps. I don't know if I really gave really good close-ups. If you want to see those products better than what I showed in that last video, let me know in the comments below. I also discussed that there were coordinating dies that go with the stamps, and that those dies also cut out some of the shapes and images in the patterned paper. And so I've gone off and I've cut all the little pieces out that I showed you in that last video. And the nice thing is because I have a large capacity electric die cutter, a Craftwell cut and boss, I was able to cut all the little pieces out at once. So that was nice. Just one pass through and all of these lovely little pieces just popped right on out of the dies. If you can see them there. Actually, I don't know why I laid them on there. Yeah, they're so pretty. So you can stamp and color if you wish, or just cut the little images out from the patterned paper that has the little coordinating images. So those are all cut out, and I've pretty much decided which ones I'm going to use. I cut them all out because I wasn't sure, but I have some for other projects. So let me move them out of the way. And so today the plan is to finish the card. I've also gone ahead and cut down some layers. This is from, well, here's what's left of it, but from that video I discussed that they not only had the 12 by 12 sheets, they have 12 by 12s that have cut aparts, and so you also get the patterns in smaller sizes. And so I use this size, and so I'm going to use that one there. I've also gone and gotten some this silver foiled cardstock is from Papers and More. If you follow my videos, you've heard me talk about them before. I don't really hear people talk about them a lot. I did when I started crafting, but I have loved their papers. I've used them twice for wedding invitations, and they're really good quality. So this is from what I had left over from the no, actually from quite a few years ago for our oldest son's wedding invitations. And then this, in the last video I showed you this image I had typed up, if you can see that, and I printed it up with my laser printer, one of my laser printers, and I foiled it using the Anna Griffin Mink machine, the little one. And so I had actually done several in different colors at the same time, and so now we have this pretty pink color. So let me zoom in on that and stop moving around so much because it just kind of flashes in the camera, and see if you can see the foiling on there. So it's very pretty. I love the effect of foiling in my projects. Zoom out just a little bit here, not too much. Okay, and then you know, a piece for mounting. This I kind of trimmed down so it's an odd shape, but basically what I have here is about 1 3/4 roughly. It's not exact, and by 4 3/4. And so then this is cut down to about 2 inches by 5 inches to give me a nice little border around the sentiment. And then this was about a 3 3/4 by about 4 3/4, and so then I cut this to what, about 4 by 5, I believe. Yes, 4 by 5 inches, so that that'll layer up. And this cool little image here, this pretty image, actually is the size of the die. So I can pop this up on some dimensionals, raise that up, and it'll be on top of that like that. And then I'm going to use this little bird right here. At least that's the direction I think I'm going in right now. So this card is a 5.5 by 6.5 inch card. So you need a what, an 8.5 by 11 inch sheet of cardstock is what I'm starting with, and this beautiful pearlescent paper is also by Papers and More. And so I am going to cut this down the 8.5 inch edge. I'm going to cut this down to 6.5. 6.5 inches. Yes. And then when you fold 11 inches in half, you get 5.5. So we're going to score that at 5.5. I'm going to go ahead and fold that. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and fold that. Let me, I like using my Stampin' Score, or if you have a Martha Stewart scoring, what do they call, scoring board. I like to butt my cards up into the corner of those to make sure they're straight, because they don't always come out straight, and that's been working really nicely for me. And then of course you want to always get your bone folder and put a really nice crease in that score line. Okay, so the next thing you want to do, you can take a pencil and just measure over to 4 1/4, which would be your standard size A2 card. Your standard size A2 card is 4 1/4 by 5.5, and so that's what you're creating right here. I'm just going to, you know what? Make this really quick. I'm actually going to get my scoreboard. Feel like I just it's easier to be precise, so I just want to go right here, 4 1/4, and I'm going to score down to my score line. That gives me, oops, you can't see that. Sorry, let me go zoom out just a little more. Okay, so there's my score line, which gives me a cut line. Like I said, you could simply put a little pencil mark and then cut, but I found it easy just giving myself a score line. There's also one more score line I'll need to do, but this one I need to cut this, so I'm going to be very careful here. I don't want my head in the camera. I'm always trying to keep my head out, and then I go edit and there's my head stuck in the camera. Now I am putting this right at the 4 1/4 mark, but I also want to make sure that that line is in that groove. I want to try to get this line as clean as I possibly can. I want it clean. Okay. Whoops. Didn't go anywhere. I don't want to mess up my card. I'm like freaking out right now. I'm gonna go, okay, there we are. Right there. Did I get in? Oh, I did get my head in there. Oh, we'll have to edit that out and then cut like that. And then I can either use this or, you know what, I was gonna say I could get my scissors, which is what I did on the other card. I just used scissors. I didn't use my scoring. I'm sorry, my oh my gosh, paper trimmer. I want this at 5.5. And I want to make sure to bring this to me. Sorry guys, I really don't want my head in there. Make sure that is. Oh, my head is in there. I want it. Okay, I'm trying to. And now I'm moving my mat. All of that just because I don't want my head in the camera. Okay, and I hope that's lined up right. I'm going to trim that up. Ooh, that was a little jaggy right there. I didn't like that. Okay, oh, and it didn't cut through. I don't understand what happened there, so maybe I didn't put enough pressure on it, but I'm going to go ahead, grab a pair of scissors really quick, and cut that off. I was trying to make sure I got a really nice, a cleaner cut on this one than the other one. That's what I was going for. Because I did use scissors and it looks nice, but it wasn't as clean as I wanted, and I can just sand this edge down to make it better. Okay, so here's your standard A2 size card. Now this is how you make this card. You just decorate it. So that's all I did for this one, but we are doing an easel card this time. So you can either just fold it over and use your bone folder, or you can score it ahead of time. That's what I typically like to do. You know what, here, I'm going to go ahead and use this, I think. And I want to score this at 2 3/4, because that is half of 5.5. Okay, I'm just going to score. Actually, I think I want to do it this way. It doesn't matter, guys. I don't think it matters, but yeah. I typically, actually, I think I wanted to do it the other way. Now that I think about it, yeah, the other way is how I want it. I've done both ways, but some people say when you fold away from the score that it's better. So I started doing that, but oh well, I didn't this time. So I'm going to go ahead and fold that over and get my bone folder, get a nice crease in there, and ta-da, there is my easel base. And now I just need to decorate it. So I was having a hard time deciding on papers. I'm going to cut down. I'm thinking this is going to be my background paper. That'll look pretty on the inside. Yeah, so I need to get my layers for the background paper, and I think, yeah, that should be it. Okay. Okay, I have all my pieces cut out now. Your cuts can be more precise. Mine are slightly off because I had to go based on this piece right here, which wasn't exactly the full, well, I don't know, I'm seeing that it's like slightly over the 2 3/4, just a smidge. So it's throwing my, well, this one is just under 4. So you would want your top layer to be, I'm going to say, did I say 2? I meant 3. 3 3/4 by 4 inches. Normally when I do my layers, I'd go down by 1/4 inches. So then if my base is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and then the next layer would be 4, unless you want a smaller frame, then you would just go down by 1/8 or whatever you want, but you want it to be consistent. So I do a 1/4 off each. So then this would be 4 inches by 5 1/4, and then my next layer would be 3 3/4 by 5 would be that layer. And then this next layer, if I was putting on another layer, I don't usually do quite so many, but today, why not? So what did I say? 3 1/4, I mean, yeah, 3 3/4 by 5 inches. So then this would be 3 1/2 by 4 3/4. So those are the precise measurements that you would typically use. If you're using something like I trimmed this off of that, the cut aparts, and I didn't get my measurements exactly right. That's why everything is just a sorta, kinda there, right? So just go with those, excuse me, exact measurements that I just gave you. And then for the inside of my card, remember my card is 6 1/2 by 5 1/2. Yeah, 6 1/2 by 5 1/2 inch card. So then I want this to be 6 1/4 by 5 1/4. And so that it will have a nice little frame around it like that. And then this would typically be, because this one I think is a little off too. This one is 2 inches by 5 inches. And then the next would be a 1 3/4 by 4 3/4 is what your next measurement would typically be. Yeah. And then that would layer on there like that. And I'm just going to lay this down so we can see our layers here. And I have a very tiny frame around this. So those 2 layers. And then my silver foil. Obviously everything is not exactly straight. Kind of moving around here just to give you an idea. And then this next layer. And then I'm going to add this little floral, this beautiful hummingbird. And then I got to figure out what to do with the bottom. I have not yet. So I'm going to go ahead and add these layers onto the card. Okay, so the card is together for the most part. I got a little stumped because I'm not sure what I want to do with this part right here. I was originally going to put a sentiment there, but I already have one here. So I don't know, maybe a strip of, I probably should have put something else there, but the color, it kind of brings this color down to this part of the card by adding that. But that's, that's just a strip from some of the scraps I had here. The only other thing I would do, which I meant to do before I turned the camera back on, is add an area for writing right here. And I thought I would have more of the flowers peeking through. That's why I put that there, but I pretty much covered them up. So that's something I would do differently. Also, with the little bird, let me see if I can show you the dimensions on here. You can see I popped it up. the our flower as well as our little bird. These little fragile parts I did add liquid adhesive to, and I'm actually glued it to the card. What I would do different with the bird is cut several of them, about 3 or so, and layer them up so that it'll be sturdier and you don't risk you know, having your little fragile pieces broken or torn or whatever. But I think this will work. It could use some more items, of course. I may add some rhinestones to it, like swirly rhinestones, or maybe a few little across here, or I don't know. You see I have these pieces still left over. Now this is too big. That definitely has to be used somewhere else. I thought about putting the some of the little birds down here in this white space, because there's a little bit too much white space down here. Something like that, or maybe this little bunch. I cut them apart. They were all together, and I just split them. I could split them more. I might do that and add a couple down here and one up there in the corner. I do want to be careful and make sure that I don't have anything hanging off of here, so when I close well, it can't go underneath the card. It'd have to be further over. So yeah, so that's the card. Hope maybe you'll be looking at a completed card at the end of this video, or you may just be looking at this part right here. We shall see. So just to refresh, so I've showed you how I did this, and then this turned into an easel card. So I hope you enjoyed this project. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe. Click the subscribe button and the notification bell, and make your choice in the drop down menu so that YouTube will notify you when I upload future videos. To all of you who are new or been around here for a while, I appreciate you so much. I try to make sure I tell you that in every video, so I'm probably starting to sound like a broken record, but I really do appreciate you for taking time to watch my videos. As always, I look forward to being with you again. Thanks for watching.